Welcome to the Restricted Handling Podcast. This is what's been going on in China in the past 24 hours. First up, we've got an update on the U.S.-Israel strikes against Iran that we touched on yesterday. By now, we know that these strikes took out Iran's Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, and a handful of other high-ranking officials. Since then, things have escalated, with Iran firing back at U.S. bases. But today, the focus is on China's response. Initially, Beijing was quick to condemn the strikes, labeling them as unacceptable, which, is pretty standard for China when it comes to protecting its allies. But now there's something new. China is evacuating its citizens from Iran, with the first group crossing into Azerbaijan just yesterday. Why? Well, Iran supplies China with a huge chunk of its oil. Around 80% of Iran's exported oil heads to China. So you can imagine the stress that puts on Beijing when the region goes up in flames. Beijing's walking a fine line here, denying reports it's considering sending missiles to Iran, but also making sure it doesn't get dragged directly into the conflict. They're very aware that energy security is on the line, but they don't want to go full throttle into the chaos. Moving on, let's talk about the People's Liberation Army and its activities. Yesterday, we touched on the PLA's increasing presence around Taiwan, and while the situation remains pretty much the same, there's been some new data. The PLA's air sorties and naval movements are up, and we're still seeing that pattern of normal operations. But these aren't just random Wednesday drills. In fact, Taiwan detected 190 PLA sorties and 181 naval vessel movements last month. It's not quite an invasion, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Taiwan is juggling its defense budget debate, with the ruling party trying to push for a major budget increase amid fears that they need more resources to keep pace with China's military buildup. Taiwan's also got to sign some arms deals with the U.S. by March 15th, so the pressure's definitely on to get those deals in place. A slip-up on those deals could jeopardize Taiwan's military preparedness, so this is a tense waiting game. All right, now, let's zoom out and take a look at the South China Sea, where China's maritime activities are still heating up. Yesterday, we mentioned the PLA Navy flexing around Scarborough Shoal, and that's still going strong. China's been sending in jets, bombers, and anti-submarine platforms, making it clear they're not just flexing for the cameras. It's a power play. When you have the US, Japan, Australia, and the Philippines all patrolling the region, you better believe Beijing's watching closely. While this isn't exactly a new confrontation, it's still an ongoing assertion of dominance by China in the South China Sea. This region's like a pressure cooker right now, and Beijing's cranking up the heat. Moving on to China's broader strategic picture, we've got some exciting updates out of the National People's Congress. This week, China's rolling out its 15th five-year plan, and the big focus is on AI, robotics, humanoid intelligence, and space capabilities. Yeah, you heard that right. AI is the star of the show. The Chinese government is pushing hard to integrate AI technologies into their state-owned industrial giants, and they're planning to scale this tech across the entire economy. And while that sounds ambitious, China's AI sector is absolutely booming. Companies like DeepSeek are ramping up production, and there's a major push to get next-gen AI models into play. But here's the downside to this mad rush for innovation. China's facing a serious crisis of involution in certain sectors, particularly in electric vehicles and real estate. Smaller EV makers are struggling with crushing debt, and even BYD, China's EV giant, is slashing prices just to stay competitive. It's like a race to the bottom. The regulators are trying to keep the chaos in check without killing growth targets, but this is a huge mess. You can't push for technological dominance while the foundational sectors are falling apart. It's like trying to build a mansion on quicksand. Speaking of messes, let's talk about China's cyber issues. Over the weekend, the Ministry of State Security issued a warning about the risks from third-party data hosting services. There's been a cyber attack on a Chinese e-commerce database, and it turns out foreign espionage groups are actively targeting China's commercial data. This isn't just about some random hackers having fun. It's about data becoming a strategic asset. And China knows this. They're well aware that their commercial data is valuable, and they're on high alert as espionage tactics evolve. The game is changing, and Beijing's trying to keep up. Now let's talk about China's naval power, something we've discussed before. Yesterday, we mentioned China's growing nuclear-powered submarine fleet, and it's still a big deal. The U.S. Navy's alarm bells are ringing loud and clear over China's Type 095 and Type 096 submarines. These are next-gen subs, stealthy, quiet, and capable of hitting major U.S. targets from way out in the Pacific. Rear Admiral Mike Brooks confirmed that China's submarine fleet is expanding rapidly. With ramped-up production, China's aiming to challenge U.S. dominance in the undersea domain in the coming years. And let's be real, the U.S. is worried about this. China's pace of progress in this area is putting serious pressure on the U.S. to catch up in the Pacific's underwater battlefront. Thanks for listening and being part of the RH community. Please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. If you want to see some changes, email us at info@restrictedhandling.com. We also publish a daily written intel brief on Substack, where you'll find even deeper coverage of Russia and China, along with insights on Iran, the Middle East, and the DPRK.